Peace, peace, peace. How's everybody doing out there in the ethos? Let me see if I got my audio on. Peace, peace, peace. How's everybody out there doing the ethos? So I'm a peoples. It is the real HD show. This is the show that gives you that awareness that we deliver to help you live bigger. That's right. It's a Wednesday. It's hump day. Underlay. Let's go. Let's get it in. Let's do what we came to do. Shoot. All right. So I'm your host, Vic. It's the 8 o'clock hour. Prime time with a purpose. Don't get nervous. We're going below the epidermis. We're going to have a higher discussion. Please make sure that in order to watch the show, your only cost is this: to like, share, subscribe, and comment and turn on all your notifications so that every time we have a Real HD show episode, you too can tap in and have a higher discussion. We already got brothers and sisters backstage. Peace to the brother Mega coming through. Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Much love there. But let's pay some bills first. Total Package Energy, Melanated Company, Olympic athlete tested, people approved. If you want to get that 5 o'clock, 3 o'clock crash off of you, not necessarily in that order, they have powders, gels, teas, zips, whatever you need to get you up to speed. Go mob Total Package Energy. Also, redeem vacations. Bring 5 people to the Real HD show, courtesy of yourself, or any of the super Real HD shows that are currently rolling or about to get rolling. We have several in production. And you too could get a 4-day, 3-night stay at an American destination near you. Discounts and all of that, courtesy of Redeem Vacations and the Real HD show. And also, we can't forget our peoples down in the Lou, in the Dirty Nola. Our newest sponsor, Bats Sneakers. That's right, Bats Kicks. They better than Vans. They better than Nikes because they made, owned, and controlled by us. Here we go. Deserves an encore. Whenever you have a melanated company, that's us, that's be first, our people first, putting out products that are made for our people, by our people, intended for our folks, we got to celebrate that. Ice Spice wants to celebrate that. I'm not going, that was a name drop. Boom. But guess what? Not necessary, because it was dope whether Ice Spice wanted it or not. So, since we did that, we're going to, without any further ado, we're going to bring the dynamic brother up right now. Peace to the bro. What's going on?
Peace indeed. What's going on? How you feeling, man?
I'm doing well. Oh, we piling in, family. We piling in. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And if you too want to pile into this glorious higher discussion, higher, like the Beyonce record, if you too want to tap into the higher discussion, you know the link below. It's working. You see the people here, right? You see these brilliant people here right now. You too could tap in either via comments. We're rocking on 5 Facebook channels: YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Instagram. I don't know how long we're gonna be on Twitter though, because Twitter wants you to pay now.
Get out.
Yeah, they want you to give up that moolah, give up that bread to do a simple broadcast. Like Elon don't need the bread. Like what's the deal? But we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. We're gonna talk about that free speech stuff. You know what I mean? A little bit later. We're gonna go through that because the whole world right now is having a global communication. What do they call it? The global what do they call that? It's called the global. Give me 1 second, family. They gave it a title. It's like the prison industrial complex. It's called a global communication complex. You know what I mean? So it's all of these factions that are uh, colluding globally to limit free speech. You know what I mean?
It's the
It's
first time I heard that. The phrase that you use.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And we're gonna get into that a little bit later. That's the Hegelian dialectic. You know what I mean? They give you the problem and then give you the solution. You know what I mean? I ain't need your problem.
Right,
I got my own problems. You know what I'm saying? But we here. It's a hump day, special day. We got Brilliance on the panel with us. We gonna rock out. We the Real HD Show. But like we always do, we got to get into our elders and ancestors blueprint because we standing on the shoulders of greatness, people. We standing on the shoulders of greatness. You know what I mean? Too many to mention, but we gonna mention something that we just went through, which is Labor Day. So a lot of people know about Memorial Day, but they don't know what we got to do with Labor Day. What the melanated folks got to do with Labor Day? About to find out. Real HD Show. So let's get into our elders and ancestors blueprint, and we're gonna find out real quick, fast, not slow, what we got to do with Labor Day. Let me get my join up. Let me make sure. Okay. Science of Labor Day. There we go. Zooming down. Real HD Show. Fair use. Fair use. 107 USC 106. Don't block my joint. Here we go.
Day, sadly, has only become more of a marker for the end of summer without much acknowledgement of the black Pullman porters who helped start it. Without the black Pullman strike, there would have been no Labor Day. Black Pullman porters worked on trains doing various servitude jobs such as shining shoes, cleaning up after passengers, doing laundry, and making beds for white patrons. Despite their hard work and dedication to their jobs, they were underpaid, overworked, and endured constant racism. In 1893, the Pullman Company, a creator of railroad cars, cut the already low wages of its black workers, who were already paid less. When the workers tried to present their grievances about it and 16-hour workdays, they were all fired. Shortly after, 3,000 railroad workers staged an unauthorized walkout to protest work conditions and pay. This severely disrupted rail traffic and service. The government's response to the unrest was a national holiday, Labor Day, as a conciliatory gesture and improved pay. While black Pullman porters performed service to others, they would eventually help fuel the Great Migration and the black middle class. Because they were in an environment where they were to serve but not speak, they learned a lot from white supremacists. By viewing the lives of wealthier whites up close, Pullman porters were able to clearly see the differences between these lives and their own. Armed with this knowledge, many porters learned how to buy land, build homes, and save up money to send their children to college, and more. Many of our notable black American freedmen had their education paid for by them. Pullman porters, everyone.
All right. And that's the science on Pullman porters and what they had to do with Labor Day. Hey. Yeah, man, we got a lot of folks jumping in on the show. Don't you know? We are the Real HD Show. And we were in the middle of Ancestors and Elders Blueprint because we standing on the shoulders of greatness. And sometimes we don't always have to reinvent the wheel. We gotta look a little further back, take a second look, see what our folks was doing, and get involved. Reimagine their blueprints, put them into to today's times. So we got Darius Fett on the call, my brother, my dear brother. I'm glad that you could make it. Whenever you feel like jumping in, please do. And my brilliant panelists right now, what say you guys about the origins of Labor Day?
Sister Aurora? Peace and blessings. Oh,
that brother got manners. I love it. Let's go.
Thank you, my brother. That's why my voice is a little shouty because I got a little cold.
Now, take your time. If you want to jump in mega first, go ahead.
Yes, please, brother.
Okay. Yeah. First of all, man, a super salute, ancestral praise and honors to the Pullman porters. This is where J.A. Rogers pulled his book from, Superman the Man.
Yo, you stealing my thunder, God. You stealing my thunder. Let's go. I'm going to show it anyway, but go ahead.
And just so influential in one part of the story that he talks about right here in this little clip was that they listened and got armed with knowledge and just played their position and executed to buy land, executed to get businesses running, executed to know what their station was and to know, okay, this is how they play. We're going to play just as hard. And those brothers and sisters out there, they did their thing, man. It wasn't, none of this was going on, that we feel affluent in if it wasn't for these guys.
Yes, sir.
Strong backs. That's what's up.
Absolutely. And one of the untold, we could also make that our stolen legacy moment, because we haven't done our stolen legacy moment in a minute. And I guess this portion of what I'm about to speak on can be part of our stolen legacy moment. But that's when we reveal the truths that a lot of macro interests try to hide about our people's contribution to the earth, to Western civilization, so on and so forth. They were brilliant men. Not only were they strong men, but they were brilliant men. And because of the time, a lot of them had to take that work because there was not a lot else available to them. Those were the men who couldn't get involved in the army, or they couldn't get involved, in the armed forces. And because that was a hustle at that time too, going to the armed forces, get your pay up, come back, help your family, buy a house, buy land, all that good stuff. These brothers went into it. But Brother Mecca kind of preempted it, which is real dope. That's how, A alike, B alike, C alike. J.A. Rogers, Superman to Man. Really dope book. Now, J.A. Rogers was a brilliant scholar, but this is actually a book, right? And I'll show you guys the title. I'll show you guys the book right now. This is not the cover of the book that I have. It's one of the imagined, or I guess revised, covers of Superman the Man. Mm-hmm. And it was about a brilliant brother who was a pullman on the trains. And he sat with and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Brother Mecca, because I read this a long time ago. He sat with a senator, correct?
Yes.
And the senator was racist, but he happened to, like the cut of his jaw, and they struck up conversation, and he proved his brilliance, that he just wasn't some dumb, whatever expletive you want to put in that spot. He was actually a brilliant brother who just happened to be in a labor. He was relegated to that form of labor, but he was brilliant.
Mm-hmm. And books.
Right. And through their discourse, he convinced this racist senator who during a time of, mass, what do you call that? Racism, mass eugenics, all of it that was going on during that time period. He convinced this senator that, not only was he brilliant, but the contribution of our people was brilliant across the world. So again, J.A. Rogers, Superman the Man. I know Brother Adaris Fett knows about this book too. So I'm going to welcome the brother into the Real HD show. Haven't had you in on a long time. What's up, Doc? Talk to me, man.
What's up, man? Great show. Pullman Porters, one of the first black unions to form in America, which is important because, right after the Civil War, most black people were farmers, sharecroppers. So the Great Migration moved a lot of people out of the South, and then they got into these pretty professional jobs. So, something like the Pullman Porters here, helped set the stage for the black middle class, Yes. So and that's important because, we were coming from, pretty much the bottom of the barrel, and to build a middle class from, this profession was excellent, man. It was excellent.
Absolutely.
Especially nobody's fighting for you now. You have a union that can help set wages, help get you protections on the job, protect you against racism and discrimination, you needed that. So, kudos and shout outs to those brothers.
Yeah, man. So we thought that was dope, and we wanted to break down the science of Labor Day. So as you are chomping down on whatever food of your choice, know that brothers and sisters put it down, because sisters were the cooks on the trains. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the waitresses and all of that sort of thing. So, know that people put it down for you to enjoy the things that are today, even though we have massive, massive, massive gains to do. There are, brilliance amongst us. Don't ever, ever, ever forget that. Sister Aurora, how you doing?
Oh, good.
Oh, man, it sounds like you need some hot water and lemon. What's poppin'?
Definitely have some hot water and ginger here. It's the cold.
Some
Right.
dicks.
Yeah.
Hey, I appreciate your efficiency. Sister Aurora is always on first. She locked and loaded, ready to jump on the Real HD show and have a higher discussion. And please remember to share. Remember to share the show. Get mad people in here. You guys can jump on the comments. We blasting off to almost 15 social media platforms, so you can find us wherever you are, wherever you want to be. We the Real HD. We got a full panel up here, locked and loaded, ready to go. How's my brilliant family doing before we get into the craziness of the day? Everybody good?
Oh, well, good.
Yeah, we're here, that's the best part right there.
For sure. How's everything in your land, Doc? This is my brother, Darius Fett. He is a principal of a school in Westchester, New York. And of course, schools are making headlines today for all the wrong reasons. And I'm sure, have you heard about what's been going on, bro?
You talking about in Georgia with
Yeah.
But you know what, man? We just don't get it. And when it comes to firearms and how easy it is to obtain them, especially in the South. We know that what do you call it? The pipeline, the gun pipeline from the South to the North. That's how the weapons come through. So we know that they're easy to get. You go into Walmart and get a gun in the South. So
That's right. Open carry state.
Yeah, this is something that just consistently happens. It's almost like cognitive dissonance. We don't get it as a society. So, I think a lot of people now are desensitized to it. Maybe years ago you would be like, oh wow, school shooting or somebody got killed, mass shooting. But now it's almost like you hear it all the time. It's like, oh, all right, here comes another one. So we got to do something about it. Change the laws. You don't have stuff like that in New York necessarily because the gun laws are, a lot stricter. And then, in some of the tougher schools you have, pat downs and at the door and stuff like that. But, people got to start, especially in the South, I would say, got to start, thinking a little differently outside the box about carrying weapons as freely as they do.
And it's very freely. You can pick up a gun in the South, especially in Georgia, and you don't have to have your permit first, or you don't have to have a permit at all. It's an open carry state. You're over the age of 18, but everyone, it's like everyone has a gun. It's a different kind of feel when you go into Walmart and you're in the South. Okay.
Hey, you see what I got up, right?
Wow.
Yes.
That's a real Walmart advertisement. That's crazy on roller skates right there. Crazy on roller skates. Get your sippy cups and your juices, your school lunch products right next to the firearms.
Go get your gun.
Yeah, man.
And what's crazy is they present guns to their like how you have a 18th birthday, you get a gun. Okay. You get like what happened to you get a car? Okay. I mean, but you get a gun, and a gun that you haven't taken your child to train on using it. And Have you raised them with the discipline to know what that is, to have it, and being able to have it here in Georgia? I mean, coming from New York and you come down to Georgia, it's like, yo, okay, this is you. That's where you understand that the theory of discipline, okay,
Right.
but it's open carry, and people will tell you, "Oh, make sure you get your gun," you know, and so that's a big thing out here.
And
Things,
there's levels to it because getting the gun is one thing, knowing how to use it is totally another
yeah,
thing, you know,
you know,
and when to use it. Then you also have to have the heart to use it in the times where you are in a logical
we
position to use it,
right.
you know, and if that responsibility is not there, people will use it as an extension of insecurity rather than a means of protection, rather than a means of, you know, fortifying your base. You lash out with emotions and thinking that's going to be an extension of your emotions,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't solve the problem. You know, because you're going to a land where there's no guns.
Mm-hmm.
You really better learn how to fight.
Yeah, and with no rules, so
There
I
you go.
mean,
Mhm.
I mean, we were on Long Island, but at least we still had the gun club. I don't know if you had it during school, but we had a gun club when I was coming up. If you were real good, you became on the rifle battalion. You know, I mean, if you could take one apart, the way they used to teach girls, it's like that was odd because a lot of guys didn't know that. Yeah, well, in Long Island, the girls got trained with the guns. Okay, so we weren't the cooks. You can't find no, the brothers were, but we got trained differently. We got dated differently. But the biggest thing is you were trained, and so you had discipline, and you understood the power of the gun and how one moment of madness can lead to a lifetime of sadness. So here you have kids that you've given a gun to, they ain't distinguishing that moment of madness. Back when I was growing up, it was like, okay, think. Even if you had to hear your mother screaming at you in your head, something brought you back because there was a sense of training. You're giving or allowing guns to come into the hands of people who turn 18 and are still as immature as any 12-year-old, and 12-year-olds having guns. So because the ones that got shot in Georgia, it was shot supposedly by a 14-year-old.
Yeah,
14-year-olds.
yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
It's crazy. So everyone who has a child in school, and shout out to all my New Yorkers who called down and emailed and texted to see if we were good. Um, you know, it's kind of scary. I mean, you can be all the way in mid Tennessee and hear that there was a school shooting in Georgia, and you got kids in the school. Your heart wants to get up and go get your kid. Okay, I mean, all over the nation. It's not just an isolated. And as a principal, thank you, brother. I used to work in a K through 12 setting. And when you get to that junior high setting, and the hormones are crazy, and the thing is crazy, that 14-year-old is crazy. Okay. They're emotional. They're led by TikTok and whatever things they see. That's where they get their news from. That's what they get their how to act from, And it's if you haven't put that training into your kid, it's a big chance they're gonna be one of those perpetrators of getting in the mix of something wrong. You know, I mean, you just got to be able to know. People go knock on the doors. You know how your parents did. Unless you were paying rent, you don't knock on the door. You sit there.
So,
We do it as courtesy. Going to my son's room, I'll do that because it's a courtesy because he's the only boy. But it's like, bam, huh? That door be open. Again, we forget how to continue to communicate with our kids. If for one generation, we tried to do what it was it called, the language of talk, where you're supposed to sit there and say it was PC. Okay, no, I used to sit there. They had a problem with me because when my kids were going to elementary school, I would tell my girls, the name, penis, this. I don't want to hear my nunu touch my nana, okay? Because I'm about to catch a case, so let me know what I'm catching it for. No, if a penis comes near you, okay, I want to know who it was from. I don't care if it was little Billy, okay, because we're going to talk to his mother. But I want to know, okay, not no nunu or his DDD. No. Did his dick and penis, those are the 2 words you need to know. I know it's just 2nd grade, but there's conversations, but they would grow up, and even my mother got it from, like, no, we don't use no euphemisms here. He goes, because she would always say, because my husband's going to catch a case, so let it be known that the nunu wasn't a piece of candy or nothing. The nunu wasn't, and my nana wasn't something different. This is my vajayjay or my vagina, and that's their language. Because my mother was like, look, let's be realistic. Okay. He's going to catch a case. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So, so we are this. Welcome to the Real HD Show. Once again, we were in the middle of a conversation about gun safety and what was happening in the high schools, or that Georgia high school specifically. And Brother Godspeed popped on, so I want to acknowledge the God. Peace, bro. How are you?
Peace, my brother. How everybody doing tonight? Well, anyway,
Good.
I've seen everybody's doing well, building and whatnot. So
Yes,
peace
absolutely.
all.
Absolutely. So we got a nice little Long Island connection popping right here. You know what I mean? My man Adaris Fett went to school with me in Long Island. We both went to Hofstra, graduated. Adaris Godspeed lives in Long Island, or lived in Long Island. And
Yep.
Mecca, you got roots in Long Island too, don't you? Or
No, it's like,
okay. Gotcha.
Brooklyn's where he's from.
But we got love regardless. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I just wanted to welcome Brother Godspeed to the show. And before we get too far gone, I want to reiterate the books of the show. One book is Superman the Man by J.A. Rogers. Great read for anybody, especially your kids. You can sit down with them, talk to them about it, explain what's going on. Make it a must read. And then for my brother Godspeed, I'm glad he decided to pop on tonight because I got this one for him. I'll pull it up. And this one is Exemplar of Liberty, Native America and the Evolution of Democracy. Now, we've brought this subject up many times on the show. I don't want to jump down that rabbit hole right just now, but those are the 2 books of the show. And go check those out. You can get both of those on Amazon. The Exemplar of Liberty is expensive as hell. I think it's like $125.
Dang. How much?
But it's worth the read.
Okay.
Brother Darius Fett, are you hip to Exemplar of Liberty? I know you are an avid reader.
No, that's one I haven't come across. That's good to add to the library.
Yes, sir. It's about the native people, the Lenape, Algonquins, and their how the colonists or the virgining United States chose to use a lot of the native culture to form the United States.
Haudenosaunee and Iroquois.
Absolutely.
The bicameral system.
Nice.
Absolutely. So
sounds like a nice book.
If you could,
want to say the book is really expensive, and there's only one left in stock. So that tells you.
Oh, you just looked it up.
That tells you how important that book is.
Yeah. It's like the secret relationship between blacks and Jews. That's another one.
Another one too. We had this book back in college. It was the melanin. It was a book on melanin. I still have that book, but when I looked it up on Amazon, it was like $3,000.
Is that the Great Book of Melanin Research?
Yeah, it's like a tan book.
Yeah, Dr. Carol Barnes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Fire, absolutely.
$3,000. I was like, wow.
Yeah. Yep. And Dr. Carol Barnes is dope because he gets into the science of hydrocarbons, so that's like super important. So and we dealt with that a couple shows back. You can go back and look at that if you want to. But that's where that is at. Okay, what we got? What we got? Let me put you up, bro. Let me put you up.
Revealing America's dark-skinned past, volume. I can't see if it's one or not. By Red Silver Fox.
Yeah, volume 1. The Red Silver Fox Thunderbird.
Okay.
The underlying title there. Yeah, this is good too. It's nice and simple too. It gets to the point. No poetic language, just get right to it. Talking about the mound builders and everything.
Right.
And so on. But like you said, that's a rabbit hole we're not going to jump into. I just have to, flash it back at you.
Solid.
Mm-hmm.
So we can talk about Jacoby Tempe if you want. We can go there. That's if.
Well, I like to finish up on what you guys were talking about, man.
That's if you feeling froggy. Yeah, no. That's the ancient excavation in the Americas that are being. There's I want to preempt it with the proper diction and the proper words. It's a ancient excavation that's being held by international governments that are going to reveal a lot about the native role in the way that the formulation of this continent took place, and it's called Gobli Tempe. You can look that up if you want to. We dealt with that a little before. Yeah.
Okay.
Real
I got to check that out.
Hold on. I'll put
that term that way. Yeah.
Hold on. Let me put the post up real quick so you guys can see it, because we jump all over the place, but we try to bring it back home so we can make as much sense as possible. Okay. So this is World Economic Forum, and they made an international order to stop excavation at Gobli Tempe. And it reveals all kind of ancient science, mathematics, art, and architecture. And that place must be vitally important if they put 150-year gag order on it. Interesting.
Whoa.
Interesting. But we all jump down that rabbit hole.
Probably got us written all over it.
Everything got us written all over it.
Yeah, man.
Earth in every part.
Yeah, man. Who make it rain, hail, snow, and earthquake? You know what I mean?
Word.
All right, so
yeah,
absolutely. And I'll put this up too, because this is very relevant. Journalism has long conflated objectivity with white perspective. So we'll, anybody want to comment on that, they can. If not, we're going to jump into our AAT report, which is a healthy, wealthy, and wise report for a brand new you. Here we go. This is the AAT report, started out by my man Sincere, Aero Aqua Terra, everything under the air, sea, and land that can make you healthy. We're going to try to cover so that we could be our best selves, because we need all the cellular power that we can get. A couple years ago, a lot of our folks passed away or were compromised. Their health was compromised because their cell power was compromised. So we want to give as much aid and speed of aid to folks through the Real HD show by giving some health examples. Have you guys, let me just ask before I get started on the joint, anybody got any health stuff that they're doing right now? Any health tips that they want to express to the crowd? Any regiments that you got going on? I know brother Godspeed is into martial arts and he's a healthy eater. Anybody got anything going on that they'd like to talk about? I'm going to
I use aqua sizing
Mm-hmm.
I said, I like to aqua size, and a lot of stuff that you can do, I can do in the water. I can't do outside the water, but at least it gets your body continually moving in that same manner. Because as you get old, the structure just starts shifting on its own. And so you want to sit there and at least be able to maintain it just to be able to stand up straight. But it's a lot of you don't feel the stress until you get out, and then it's like, wow, my muscles hurt, but aqua sizing is the way to go.
All right. Anybody else got a dime they want to drop on some good health news for the people?
I swear about black seed oil all the way.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? A teaspoon in the morning, teaspoon at night. You know, it's like
Nice.
oil to your engine.
What is it called, brother?
Black seed oil.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely.
I have some black seeds in my closet that actually I make tea out of it, and I combine it with other teas like yarrow tea and stuff.
Yes.
So yeah, the black seed stuff is very potent, man. But I actually got the seeds and whatnot to make
the
teas.
cumin. Yeah.
I like in the mornings mostly I have a liquid meal most of the time, most days. So I would have like maybe spirulina. I do like
take that.
a Poland Spring bottle of spirulina, and also too sometimes I'll make smoothies as well, like mulberries, blueberries, along with banana, along with pumpkin seed protein, right?
Great.
Yeah, because it doesn't have all the sugars in it, and what else I got there? Yeah, pretty much those are the main ingredients, and then I spunk it up with some other healthy stuff.
Fire.
A little almond milk,
Fire.
non-sweetened almond milk. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. If you need sweeteners, you can go to the monk fruit. You can go to some blue agave, and just do it in moderation. Watch if you have any glucose issues. You want to try to get away from that as much as possible. You know what I'm saying? I had a big thing with pizza. I had to divorce a long time ago, so I've been pizza free for a long time.
I hear you, brother. I hear you.
You in New York. That's a get up and go thing.
Mhm.
Oh, there you
right
go.
here.
Yeah, man, you battling the Brooklyn slice, man. Hey, Mecca, you battling the Brooklyn slice. That's crazy.
You already know.
This is blue agave right here. This is
blue agave.
I'm gonna take a picture of it and send it to you guys' phones and stuff, because this one is good. I cook with this one. I make I made some squash pie a couple days ago, so I use this in the squash pie. Just to lower down the spiking of the blood sugars. See, with the nation, what I noticed with the Nation of Islam, and that's where I learned how to make squash pie and bean pies from the Nation of Islam. So, but the only problem with the Nation of Islam, no disrespect, but they use too much brown sugar. They figure brown sugar is better than white sugar, but brown sugar is just as dangerous as white sugar, to be quite honest with you. That's where the white sugar comes from, And they would. Yeah, they would use like 2
Tell the
cups of
truth,
sugar.
sister. Well, tell the truth. Them things be smacking.
I'm sorry, brother. Go ahead.
Oh, they be smacking. Oh, absolutely. But you know what? Now it's all good, sis. Now, because you're an bean pie person. I used to deliver those bean pies in the white box all the way from Roosevelt. I know what time it is. Yeah, that sister was powerful with it too, man. I mean, she's the one that inspired me to get into bean pies. So, I took my hat off to her and stuff. Sister Nancy, that's who it was.
That's right, Sister Nancy. She made that cauliflower salad, and she
not
would
a joke.
Oh God, you would think all the food was different meats, and it was vegetables.
Yeah,
she used to make a whole lot of different stuff for me. Yeah.
Salute to Sister Nancy. No disrespect, but the brown sugar is my only criticism. It tasted phenomenal, but the brown sugar, like they use 2 cups of brown sugar, and when you use agave, and even if you take a little pinch of stevia, like say 4 packets of pure stevia, and say like a half cup of agave, guess what? Just as sweet, but healthier, because it's not going to be spiking your blood sugar levels. Big fact.
Spending a lot of time with Queen of Four, Brother Paor, who was part of that crew, gave me a really dope, I won't call it a trick because it's not a trick for the body. The body's going to process how you process. But he's saying if you're going to have a sugary treat or a sugary whatever, make sure that you have a water-based salad because the water-based salad balances out the blood sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
make sure your salad has a lot of greens and dark hues and purples in it, and that helps to balance the blood sugar if you are going to indulge in something real sugary. Hey, brother Darius Fett, how are the babies preparing themselves in a healthy way as they get into the school year? Yeah, y'all doing anything interesting or unique? Or I know how you get down, man. You be doing stuff and don't even tell nobody. Go ahead, bro.
Personally, I'll start with personally. So personally, I'm into the bitters. You know, I drink the bitters. You know, pour it in my tea. Drink every morning. You know, the different type of bitters that they sell in the West Indian stores.
Mm-hmm.
So I take that, and then I work out. So I'm back. I'm in the weight room like I used to when I was a kid, but I do more lightweight and circuit training. So,
Mm-hmm.
um, it's more for repetitions. You know, in a circuit type setting, I give myself like maybe 30 seconds on each rep, go around for 4 repetitions. But I want to build muscle endurance and muscle and bone density. You know,
Mm-hmm.
lifting weights because that's important when you get into your older age. You know, weightlifting strengthens your bones. So when you get older and your bones naturally deteriorate, it won't deteriorate as fast because you've been
Right.
using weights, right? Lifting. So utilizing weights is important in the workouts. Now, as far as the kids are concerned, they still eat crazy. You know, they come to school eating chips and all sorts of stuff. You know, so we school them. You know, we tell them why, but that's kind of a cultural thing because everything. You know how New York is so fast. So you just
Mm-hmm.
running out your house, you grabbing what you can. Because
Right.
they don't give you enough breakfast in the morning at school, they don't serve you enough. Your portions are so small. You know, you grabbing chips and the juice before you come to school, and then you'll eat what they have too, just to be filled, just so that you fill your body up. So, it's a lot wrong with how kids eat. Definitely impacts their academic achievement. If we could change that, we might see a big difference. They try healthy eating in school. You know, um, I'm gonna say it's healthy to the sense that you don't really see fats, they don't give you sugar, things like that in the school, but the portions are small and the kids don't really feel filled up, so they bring their own, so they'll eat the school lunch and junk food. You know what I mean? And that's what kind of hurts them a little bit. So, one thing in schools, we got to figure that out. The healthy eating piece, we might see a difference in the academics if, people are able to eat a little better than what they do.
Yes,
One
sir.
interesting thing too, parents come, I got to turn them away when they bring the KFC, Popeyes, the McDonald's. I
Yes.
tell them away.
Oh, the McDonald's, man, bro.
We can't. I tell them
Pet peeve.
that here. When they go home, they can eat whatever they want. But when they come to my school, we're not
They
eating.
got a sign that says no DoorDash or food
Right.
deliveries, Uber Eats
There
to
you
the
go. Yeah,
school.
Uber
Yeah.
Eats to the school is
Right. You calling
crazy.
DoorDash for delivered to school. I'm like, y'all really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We were
Yeah.
talking about the school shooting in Georgia, and maybe if you do the science and that young man had a proper meal before because it happened early in the day,
Yeah.
maybe he doesn't make the choice he made, you know what I mean, to impact those people's lives in that real violent way, because we know salt and hypertension, salt is a bridge to hypertension and so on and so forth. So that's a real dope joint. And speaking of
But
food,
it's designed like that.
right.
Sorry. It's designed like that because you can come out of the grocery store with 20 bags of junk food for $100, and you can't get more than one bag of natural foods and fruits for under. It's expensive to get the good food, and then $1, we have $2 here. Yeah, all those soups that they get. Yeah, let me get 6 of those are 23 cents. you know,
We're having a really
it's
great conversation about food and
mm-hmm.
positives, negatives, the in betweens. Let's listen to Dr. Bobby Price and a couple of other doctors about GMOs and how that can affect our lifestyle. Real HD show. Check it out.
that the body doesn't know. Genetically modified foods have the ability to tamper with your DNA. Genetically modified foods cause cancer. What's cancer? Cancer is a mutation of the cells. What causes the mutation of the cell? The mutation in the DNA. What causes the mutation in the DNA? Genetically modified food can do that, and so can these other things.
The primary fish that people like to eat is salmon. What people didn't just recently found out about salmon a couple of years ago is they make a genetically modified version of it. Did you know that?
Many people have complained on the internet about how the fruits they buy look and feel fake.
I was just about to make me a healthy snack, and I cut into a strawberry, and guess what happened? Y'all, these strawberries are fake. Look at this. They're not even red inside, y'all. These are GMO strawberries, y'all. Why are they not red on the inside? Somebody tell me, please. Look at this. They're white. They're not fully grown. Or
I cut watermelons for my kids, and they're all bringing it right back, saying they don't like the texture. And I can't believe I got one. I got a rubbery watermelon.
Look at this. Look. I want y'all to look at this. I want y'all to look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Wow. Don't eat no.
Like, it's not even breaking, like, at all.
Oh.
Like it. And I know you guys can't feel the texture, Avi, right? Because it's a video. But like, it literally feels fake.
Clinking, and it sounds like something's stuck. So I go in the drain, and there's a blueberry that's not breaking apart. It's not doing anything. It's what's making the noise. And I pick it up, and why is there a rubber blueberry in my toddler's snack? This came from the carton of blueberries. My husband cut it in half. I really don't know if you can see it that well. Glistening, it's silicone. It's a silicone blueberry. It is a solid rubber blueberry. She is under 2. I got this at Whole Foods also. Organic. I was trying to,
Ever wonder why your grandparents seemed healthier despite their simpler diets? Or why chronic diseases are skyrocketing despite our advanced nutrition and medicine? Buckle up, folks! We are about to dive into the murky world of modern food production, where profit often is placed over health. Imagine walking through the grocery store, your cart filled with what you believe are wholesome, nutritious foods that promise health and wellness. But what if these seemingly good choices hide a secret? What if genetic modification and overprocessing have changed these natural foods into something far from their original form?
They're called GMOs are done by changing the genes of the plant, and it's done in a way where there's a very thorough safety procedure, and it's pretty incredible because it reduces the amount of pesticide you need, raises productivity, can help with malnutrition by getting vitamin fortification.
You look on the label and look at what's in the food, you don't understand all of that chemistry. When you read it, you know it's chemistry.
Absolutely.
But you don't know what it is.
Yes, sir.
And most of that is to make the food stay looking a certain kind of way, color and texture.
Facts.
Because otherwise it will break down. Just think if I put a tomato right here on the desk.
Yes, sir.
And we waited a week.
Oh.
You would see mold on the tomato.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And on the desk.
Right. But all of a sudden, this thing that comes out of a box, bag, can, jar, it could just sit there for 2 years. That's not magic. That's chemistry. And that's the chemistry that is slowly but surely taking away minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years of our life.
All right. First impressions. GMO food, good, bad. I think we all probably, I know this panel is pretty enlightened, so we're probably all going to call it bad, but what do we think about the information presented and any solutions to what plagues us in lieu of GMO foods?
Well, I think it's to pay the farmers and those persons who are helping produce the natural foods to help them produce it in abundance so that we don't have to sit there and try to make laboratory food when we know that the fresh food is healthier, and I guess we had discussed it last week, bring back the fun in cooking in the kitchen, and I mean, with family, we used to have great time. We wouldn't miss it, getting dinner ready and things like that. Not so everybody could just, not for the obvious reasons. Yes, y'all need to learn to cook just in case I ain't here, but for other reasons of just to know the joy of making your own food. I'm telling you, during COVID, that's when, me and my 3 kids, we started coming into the kitchen and looking at recipes, and slicing and dicing again. And, we seldom had any cans in the cupboard. Like we used to always have all the canned vegetables and stuff. But no, we were buying fresh foods, fresh fruits and vegetables. And it did mean going shopping every other day, but that was even a nice adventure, because you always buy fresh foods, you can't buy them for the full week. That's my mother used to always say. If you're gonna get it fresh, you gotta go back in 2 days. Don't buy all that right now. So we used to always go to Pathmark, but yeah, so that's part of it. We have to, if you expect the culture to change, you gotta start in your own households. That's just where it begins.
And with that, it's a lifestyle change. Before you feed the body, you feed the mind. So, your thought pattern about food has to change as well. One thing when I was doing my transition, because back in the days I used to be crazy vegan, then I went to vegetarianism. Then it wasn't like practical for a while, so I had to go to pescatarian. Then, the brother went to wings. So it started that social climate is different. So when it's time to reverse that, you also are eliminating the circles you're around, because now you're zoning in. And, unfortunately, a lot of those things that used to make you feel happy when you was eating them can no longer exist. You can't have the sugary cereals anymore. You can't have certain oatmeal, even to that effect, And after a while, when you stop the sugar and the salt intake at a high level, you don't even want it no more. But it's definitely a withdrawal that comes with it. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be ready for that. Those lifestyle changes come into effect. So now the stores that you used to go to are no longer those stores on your list. You'll do without eating before you go there. You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing that starts to take place. But just like the young lady found a silicone blueberry in Whole Foods, it's indicative of what goes on in the high scale areas as well. So they're not, totally away from this situation either. And I remember a clip with fine restaurants replacing some of their seafood with swai and what was the other one? Tilapia, I think it was. 2 fish. And they'll redesign it on your plate on some 3-star, 4-star Michelin type of vibe, and it'll look like sea bass, or it'll look like a nice salmon plate and stuff like that. I want you to play the rest of what the brother was talking about with the salmon eating each other, farm raised. It actually the salmon is eating each other, and then you eat it. It's madness going on right there, and more regulations in the food industry has to be developed, but more importantly, our awareness and what we take into our bodies and consider great stores to go to amongst our communities.
Absolutely. Hey, brother Darius Fat, let me ask you a question, man. Is it FOMO as to why you think people, or is it emotional eating and also FOMO for the popularism of it all as to why you think people overeat? What do you think? Why do you think people accept the GMO stuff? Because this ain't new. This been around for a minute, and you just said yourself, when you go deal with the young people, they get the incomplete meals, so, and they don't feel satiated, so they got to go grab this and grab that and grab a little of this and grab a little of that. And is that the end? Is that the genesis of why this keeps going, or is it just, I guess, are people sugar addicted? What's your thoughts?
I think it's a combination of things. First I want to touch upon what was mentioned earlier. I think Aurora mentioned it. You know, in urban environments, the price of healthy food is a lot more expensive, right, than the price of unhealthy food. You could get $1 value meal, buy 3 of them and fill yourself up. Where a salad might cost what 4 or 5 value meals, cost. So the one is economics, right? It's capitalism. They know you want to, they meaning like the powers that be, right? I don't want to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but y'all know what I mean.
Hey man, if it apply, let it fly, bro. Go ahead.
So the powers that be know that people want to eat healthy. So they're going to make it more expensive, right? And they know they can't eat healthy because they can't afford it. So they're going to provide you with the cheap food, and then that feeds the medical industry who's making money off of your unhealthiness, right? So this all comes down, to capitalism, access. The only way I could see it changing, other than a change in mentality and mindset, is if people start growing their own food, right? Right, because what drives the cost, I think, of food is the breakdown, like the deterioration of the food, like what said, I think it was said in the video. You could put a tomato on a thing that's not a GMO tomato, and it'll be rotten with stuff in like a couple of days, right? So what the capitalist industries, the food industry, they want that to last longer, right? If you could create 10 tomatoes that could last 2 years, right, as opposed to growing tomatoes that'll die in 2 weeks, you're gonna make a lot more money off of that tomato, right? So I think unless we grow our own stuff and willing, you got to be willing to invest in the food. And I know that's tough for many of us that live in, urban environments, right? Projects and stuff like that. Or even if you live in a middle class environment, you may not have the land space to even grow, right, food like that. So you're caught between a rock and a hard place trying to be healthy, So it's mental, it's social, it's cultural, it's all of the above. You just got to have balance, learn how to spend your money wisely on healthy food. And I think we all, like, nobody's perfect. I'm not perfect. I'll grab a burger here and there. You know what I mean? I'll eat some buffalo wings, like my man saying, here and there. But I also exercise. I'll get my cardio in, I'll get my weightlifting in, and then I exercise my mind, because at the end of the day, your mind can heal your body too, in a lot of ways. So if you're exercising your mind, gaining knowledge, learning more, just constantly putting yourself in fresh air environments and stuff like that, your body is going to naturally heal itself too, even though you're putting the poison in it. So those are my thoughts.
Thanks for taking us to school, brother.
Godspeed. You are a brother that lives an alternative lifestyle. You even have an alternative philosophy, and the way that your POV of life is different from most. And you've gone through some medical challenges that you're not ashamed to talk about. How does the journey of eating healthy in lieu of GMOs affect you and your health journey to either maintain health or recover from injury, or whatever whatever medical situation you had?
Right. Yeah, no, it does help. And I got a few thoughts on the situation, but like Brother Sev made some good points, and I agree with a lot of his points, because a lot of his stuff he go through in his own way, I go through in my own way. It's just like, it's just that, how I can put it, somebody will look at what I'm eating and say it's healthy, but honestly, I look at some of it as healthy junk food. You know what I'm saying? It's better than the junk food's junk food. But at the same token, it don't mean it's the most optimal way of eating. Like, for me, if I was completely vegan, eating green food, electric food, I subscribe to everything Dr. Sebi was saying, right? To start off with that. But you know what I mean? It's like, hey, look, sometimes I operate on a light body level, and sometimes I operate on a very human level. All right. So what I'm trying to do is to lower down the human moments and raise up the light body moments. You know what I mean? And that would help me to avoid some of these injuries and stuff. But
Yeah,
at the
man.
same token, Yeah, it would. It would like like I've gotten this far because guess what? I take a higher intake of vitamin C, which flushes out all the free radicals, which the free radicals is what wrinkles your skin. You know what I mean? Because it just eating away at the good stuff. But when you get like a high level of vitamin C, like I subscribe to what Gary Null said about vitamin C intake as far as like 5,000 milligrams a day, right? And when you're trying to flush out a ailment or a disease or what have you, or disease as they would like to say in the holistic community, crank that sucker up to 10,000 milligrams a day for 7 days in a row, along with your zinc, along with your veggie intake and things like that, your fruits, your veggies. And now you're probably going to flush things out in 7 days. So I keep up like that. But to attack the eating thing, I look at it like this. What I normally do is I drink a liquid meal in the morning, and then I eat something heavy in the evening. But I strive to do all of that before 7 p.m. Now, today is one of those days where I didn't meet that mark. So I ate very light, something that's just going to, disintegrate in the stomach very quickly so that you don't, have an uneasy sleep at night, because it could keep you awake, or it could wake you out of your sleep in the middle of the night. That's because your stomach is working more than it really should be, But the thing with the GMO thing, check this out real quick. Okay, let's get down to it. That's a problem that's created out of a problem. Meaning that the problem that started GMOs is what? The idea that the natural food, the real food, is running out too quickly. Why? Because we trained ourselves as a nation, as a country, to eat too often. That's the problem. We eat more than we really should. A lot of us eat stuff, right? And we don't give the other stuff time to digest. Most of the time, my lady look at me like I'm an alien, because when I eat something, I won't touch anything for the rest of the day until that thing's digest and my stomach is making that sound again. That's when I put something back in, right? Because you're giving it time to digest. People don't realize that veggies take a certain amount of time to digest, fruits take a certain amount of time to digest, and meats take a certain amount of time to digest. And out of all of them, the meats take the slowest time to digest out of everything. Out of all the animals, the fish digest quicker than the rest of them, right? But the thing is that, say like if you had a steak yesterday, a nice full steak, right? Which is not a problem, but you got to get the bad boy time to digest though. Then you come back today and have another steak, tomorrow and have another steak, and maybe on Friday, chicken, steak, and steak again later on, maybe 3 times for the day. Guess what? Overworking the stomach. Now the stomach has no time to break that stuff down, and that stuff cakes up in our system, and that stuff turns into things like flus, colds, wherever phlegm is gathering, it creates diseases, right? And they all got itis attached to their name, And I mean, it's like people not realizing that the source of cancer is undigested food for long periods of time. That's why it's good to go get a colonic every now and again. You take your seasonal colonic. Gonna start you off with 3, and then they'll tell you keep up with 1 per season, which I don't even do. Most of us don't do. We go back and then we got to take 3 all over again to start it all back up. But the idea is you take 3 to break the wall, and then you do 1 every season as the season changes, and you maintain that way, and it gives you a stronger chance of really emptying your system for all the times that you might overeat something. We all do it. I do it. I can admit I do it. It is what it is. Ain't none of us perfect as far as I'm concerned, right? A lot of us could always strive for more. And let's think about it too. I'm going on a useful rant real quick about health. What I would like people to understand out there is this: you judge a person, a holistic person, or a guru of health based on how it affects you when you try it out, not based on the fact that, oh wow, like Layla Africa was such a great, he's so into his health. How did he die so early? Oh, Dr. Sebi didn't live to 120. No, you can't base it on that. You know why? None of these people were born that way. What you got to think is it could have been worse and it could have been earlier. That's how you should be thinking. Because if they were doing what they're doing and they lasted as long as they did, Guess how short their lifespan would have been if they weren't doing that. Would Dr. Sebi at the age of 80 be able to drop his knees onto concrete ground and pop right back up like a basketball hitting the ground? Would he be able to do that if he wasn't on his health regimen? I know not, because I got other relatives his age that ain't doing that. I seen a man do it with my own eyes in person down in Brooklyn. He dropped to his knees like 3, 4, 5 times in a row right in front of all of us. I tried it. That ain't working for me. Because he had a special calcium concoction that he would have that really made his bones super strong, you know? So saying all that is just to say, look, man, you know, let's not judge each other. Let's help each other, you know, and know that we all got the same flaws, just in different ways.
Yes, sir.
You could find me somebody that's levitating.
Right. So
their flaws are different than mine.
yeah, man. So, you know, we just give each other this awareness so we can move fearless. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So we can execute our lives better and to the fullest extent possible. It's that 9 o'clock hour. It's time for this.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. Remember, all I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
Because we have some great development, great building on the show, but we got to keep the show moving. So what we're going to do is we're going to go straight to Power to the People News. Power to the People News. Wait, what just happened? This just happened. Baltimore people are holding it down. Shout out to South Baltimore. Shout out to all my people in Orleans Street. Shout out to all my people on Caroline Street. Shout out to all my people in the harbor. And shout out to my people in South Bmore. Scenes from a sacrifice. South Baltimore residents fight back against industrial pollution. CXX. CXX is a $10 billion industrial company out of Baltimore. They pollute like crazy. They short dump. They do all types of crazy tactics. And I usually read a little byline of the story, but I'll shorten it for you guys so we can build on it. Baltimore residents because they said the smog and the pollution and everything that was happening from this company that was getting carbon credits to continue to pollute were choking the life out of the South Baltimore residents. And what they decided to do is the South Baltimore Community Center said enough is enough. We're going to unify. And they gave them 30 days notice to get up out of their community or they would face community consequences. What do y'all think about a move like that in this day and age of being almost sovereign, if you want to say, protecting your own community? Because the people down there said they can't, open up their window and get fresh air. Their food is tainted. Their water is tainted. The soil is tainted. Nobody cares about South Bmore. I used to live in Bmore for many years. My kids went to elementary school down there for a couple of years, so I understand the crazy of the crazies go down there and Bmore. And, I personally love it. But what say you guys about the Baltimore people rising up and giving the company CSX 30 days to get up out of Baltimore or they're going to face community consequences? What do y'all like that? Y'all don't like it?
I love that. I love that. That's them getting, especially because they stood up together and to say, that's what you call taking back your community. Yeah, sometimes you have to, do that. And in Baltimore, I was just there a couple of weeks ago, but there's areas that weren't that way when, my grandmother was alive and we were always going through there. It's totally dilapidated. Then you have, your nice auntie's house still there amongst all of this ruin. But it's really, the community I'm glad to see community stand up like that. You know, they're supposed to.
Do y'all think that might be a dangerous, like, consequences or dangerous kind of way that to move as a community, even though, I mean, that's our kind of our lineage as a people, that kind of protests,
Right.
that kind of Black August energy. You know what I mean? And then we just had a show about Black August not too long ago,
right.
And we were wondering, like, what's popping for Black August. So that was popping.
Mm-hmm.
That was August 16th, and those people did what they had to do to protect their communities. And do you think that can be a? Do you think that their protests can be duplicated in other cities for other methods in order to get the community progress that people need and people deserve?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, wherever we all are in our individual areas, and I don't know, but there's things going on. I mean, I get to sit there. There's events going on. There's this area wanting to fight for this right, or in this area wanting to take back their community. So the world is so much bigger than our own backyards, and so when we say we don't, social media has allowed the Black Information Network to get out there, and now with the Black Information Network, you always hear peace on certain radio shows and things like that. So that encourages me. It keeps me encouraged, and it keeps me encouraged to go ahead and say, okay, sure, we'll try one more time, do this again, whatever it is. But it's encouraging because people are standing up and taking back their community and taking back houses that's sitting for 20 years, and you're in the city. Once you start fixing it, city wants to see a permit or something. Well, we permitted you to go fix it up, but since you weren't going to do it, yeah, we did it, and we name it our community center. So those things are happening in many places. But it's really good when you have platforms like yours and social media. This is where we had talked about that a while ago too. Social media can be used for good. It can be a area to bridge gaps because everyone is so concentrated in their own area. Oh, there ain't nothing going on. No, there's something going on everywhere. It's just not there, and it's just not being attached. But the same way big news firms use the Georgia shooting, everybody knew about it an hour after it was happening. While emergency vehicles were still rolling up, it was on social media. So there's things happening. You just gotta find it, and like we always say, here comes the dawn. We said, well, this is good news for good people, and it's happening everywhere. So we want to just let people know.
Yeah, you guys can find this story on the Real News Network on Telegram. So if you want alternative information, I don't listen to the Walter Cronkites and the Dan Rathers and the goofballs of the world. I try to get alternative information and then vet primary, secondary, and tertiary sources to make sure the information is correct. But the Mega, what do you think of the courageous stand that the people in South Bmore are taking? And what do you think could be the future of that to solve our other problems within the community?
It's a dynamite effort, man. And injustice anywhere is an injustice everywhere. And they putting their foot down, saying no, and this affects the quality of their life. So when it comes to that, you're impeding people's progress in life. It's liberty or death. You know what I'm saying? So they're definitely making it. I would like to see how far their outreach is. Like this, like Sister Aurora said, this is a good vehicle. Social media and platforms like this, but it's also that word of mouth and that youth that's engaged and involved, spreading the word in their circles. That's when it will take a dramatic effect. Especially it has something to do with the environmental phase of the game, because there's so many resources that we see counter to it, that the ones that are developing, like what's that, Greta Thunberg type stuff.
Right. She be going hard body with it.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And that's a global thing. So to see that those type of movements applicable everywhere else could be applicable to Baltimore or make a good cause in a bigger scene than what we see right now. Great stuff.
Absolutely. Darius Fat, let me ask you a question, bro. It's I call it banana in the tailpipe season, but it's campaign and selection season. And do you think that the people in Bmore, they have to vote and elect people as well? And do you think they should have put some more pressure on the elected officials to kind of get more of this, I guess, bring more attention to it and actually serve them as a constituency? What do you think, bro?
So I'm gonna answer the question in a different way, because the way I wanted to bring up a point about how these people had courage, because a lot of times these corporations in these environments have their jobs, right? They're huge corporations that give jobs to the people in the community. And this is what puts like politicians in a quandary, right? So, all right, we know that it's polluting the environment. You know, it's not good for the area to some extent. Can we put regulations on the industry to the extent where it's not polluting the environment as much, but the people that are part of that organization don't lose their jobs, and those people that have those jobs live in those communities, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like a double-edged sword where, you know, yeah, you could kick the corporation out, but that's tax dollars, that's workers, it's probably more negatives than it is positives for it. And that's why, you know, a lot of times these things pop up, and especially like real poor environments. I don't know. This is, you know, looking at the picture here, looks like maybe middle class, I guess. Could be poor white too. But
Nah, it's poor white South Bmore for sure.
oh yeah, poor white. So, you know, they
Mhm.
talk about that. There's this book. I don't have the name of it. I read it like last year, where they talk about Southern communities, you know, conservative Southern communities, and some of the things they have to deal with: poor education, high rates of pollution, all of these things in these red states that you don't see, you know, necessarily in northern blue states. And the reason why is because these organizations, these companies give jobs to these communities. They don't sanction them as much. They don't put too many restrictions on them as much, because people are happy because at least they have a way to, you know, take care of their family, pay their bills, etc. So this is deep, right? It's deeper than we would think, you know. But kudos to those people, because they're empowering themselves to fight against, you know, this huge corporation, and send a message to them, like, you know, so we want change.
Absolutely. Brother Godspeed, anything on this, or are you good, bro?
All I'm gonna say is this: Umoja, Coochie Chakalia, you know, and Nia. That's it. And on top of everything else everybody just said.
Yes, sir. Uhuru, absolutely. I wanted to bring that up only because there are layers to it. And I knew my brother Darius Fett would be, you know, articulate enough to express the layers that exist within the quandary that this is. But I really do believe that this is an excellent opportunity to flex a little political muscle as a community, because it is election season. And you do kind of want to hold these people's feet to the fire so that they at least, you know, are know that, you know, that they know what's popping. And if they don't make the proper moves, we're gonna really be empowered. We're gonna empower ourselves to get you right up out of office. So,
and that's where show and tell comes in.
Okay. Say it again.
That's where show and tell comes in. You
All
know,
right, say more. What do you mean?
Everybody that we're reaching and everything we're seeing, you have to vote. You know, you have to sit there, and if those, I know that in the House of Reps in Baltimore, they have a lot of persons of color. I think they're mostly Black, but are your areas set? You know, what have you done for us lately? So sometimes you're gonna show out with the vote. You know, they have to. There has to be movement. There's too many black officials in Baltimore for it to be. Oh, they're not doing it, or they're not doing it. No, you. That's why we put you in there. Okay, you know, you take care of that. You know, so
Absolutely.
this is the year. This is the year.
One thing I would like to add is that we need more black like lobbies, kind of like a black APAP. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't have those type of things that could put pressure on, you're not gonna win, man. Because these companies, they pay the politicians. We know that money wins elections, right? That's why Kamala, raised like, I don't know, $1 billion, whatever it is, in like 3 weeks. So, money rules. So unless we become a people that's, politically conscious enough to come together and pull money in and raise funds and do all the things that these political PACs do. Shout out to the AKAs because they did that to help out, right? Kamala. So until we start getting that political savvy and know how to utilize our funds effectively, then we're not going to be able to control the political narrative like we want to.
And that's what Dr. Clark Anderson was talking about, actually developing those that scaffolding first, and then you can almost employ in a politician, because now you have leverage, and that leverage is in what we call a lobby. Our unique situation is that when we talk about what the AKAs did, it was more grassroots, but a lobby is back with institutions and industry and foundations. So if we don't have those places filled with people of our set interest, it's back to the grassroots, which is way harder to organize unless you have something that has momentum, like the Harris administration thing. It's momentum that's back in this right here. People are starting to see what Trump is about in their own eyes. I'm not for or against, what I'm saying, but you see where things are landing. I'm saying? You see who presents their policy first. If there's a policy, you see who's actually presenting it and who's falling back.
Everybody good on that one?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yep.
All right. So I wanted to bring light to a particular story about brother Marcellus Williams. Anybody familiar with what's going on with that brother?
I'm not.
Okay. So this is an excellent opportunity to talk about brother Marcellus Williams, and he is set for, in a wrongful conviction, he's set for execution very, very soon. And I wanted to talk about his situation just a little bit. And DNA, I believe his DNA evidence finds him innocent of the charge that he was indicted with. And then we have to bring, like all of brothers and sisters who are unfairly in the penal system, we have to also acknowledge those who are innocent as well. So let's check out a real quick clip. It'll be just a minute, and then we can get into it, and then we're probably gonna wrap it up from there because we talked about a lot today. Let's check this out. Real HD show. All right, here we go. I'm just trying to make sure that I get the right thing, and then we avoid all the goofiness. All right, 1 second. Let me just put it up. Okay, and I'll enlarge it. All right, fair use, fair use. We're gonna talk about brother Marcellus Williams facing execution and his story. Check it out.
Twist inside a St. Louis County courtroom this afternoon. Marcellus Williams facing execution next month for a Post-Dispatch reporter's murder may get off death row, and it's because of a new admission. Williams has now entered an Alford plea to get a life sentence.
Our Dan Broxton reports from Clayton on what exactly this means and why the sudden change.
A 25-year-long battle for Marcellus Williams culminated inside this St. Louis County court building today, but his friends and family stood here outside afterwards upset with the outcome.
Today's decision does not do justice.
Marcellus Williams took a plea deal Wednesday. He agreed to an Alford plea in the 1998 murder of Felicia Gale in University City.
Missouri's version of justice is often so much different than the rest of the country's.
In 2001, a jury convicted Williams to the death penalty. New DNA evidence got Williams a new hearing, but his team announced Wednesday the DNA evidence found on the murder weapon, which was a knife, was consistent with the detectives who handled the knife. Because of this, Williams took an Alford plea, meaning he maintains his innocence, but acknowledges there is enough evidence to convict him.
It's not the decision I would have been leaning towards, you know what I'm saying? Because I want a full exoneration because I believe wholeheartedly that my father that he is innocent, but we're still fighting and it's not over.
The death penalty is off the table, and Williams now faces life in prison with no parole.
Let's be clear. This is a win for Khalifa to not be executed.
Dion Broxton, First Alert 4.
Marcellus Williams will get his new sentence tomorrow morning, but the Missouri Attorney General is appealing today.
It's that old winky dink.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I was gonna ask first impressions. What do you guys think?
That's that old okey doke. You know where they always sit up there giving a plea deal. First of all, if DNA shows that he couldn't be involved in the crime or wasn't involved in the crime, and they still didn't give him a retrial or back then. And now and again, they sit there and tell him that he can take a deal, but the deal doesn't show that he's guilty, but it says that I'd rather do life. I mean, come on, that's the old winky thing. Yeah. It's not sure, I don't want to die, especially for something I'm innocent of. But this is the deal I'm getting, so I'm not saying I'm guilty. And I'm innocent, but I mean, come on.
And it's a glimmer of hope in a way because he still gets to be alive just in case he is exonerated. So the fight can still be, won. It's just, it's a shame that the DA actually wants to appeal that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you don't even resonate enough just to give this man a little bit of sympathy, just to have the benefit of the doubt. Now that this new information came up, like, come on now. Yeah, they're trying to railroad him.
Mm-hmm. It's crazy. And here's the thing. We have, I don't know, like people out there, Blacks for Trumps. I have to shout you out, right? But Trump is an advocate for the death penalty, man. And he's called, regardless of whether you're innocent, or there's some error of doubt there, right? He still is a supporter of the death penalty. And remember, with those boys in Central Park, the exonerated 5, he wanted them to be executed.
That's
now, right? Now look at them now, right? So imagine he would have got what he wanted. So like people just don't get it. Like I understand, right? Trump economy, I like what he does with the business, but there's so many nefarious things that he's about that what I mean? Like you willing to sacrifice your people, your freedom, your rights, your life for a couple of extra $100 in your paycheck. I don't know, man. That just doesn't stick with me well.
Right. Agreed.
Brother Godspeed, you got something on brother Marcellus Williams and his journey on death row, as it were, and how in lieu of the new evidence, he still has a long way to go to be exonerated, brought free. And is this reminiscent of the political prisoners of the civil rights and Black Power movements, and just the travails that most Black brothers and sisters go through within the course of being in America, their sojourn in America. How do you think that plays out in what we're seeing right now?
Well,
I know that's a loaded question. Take your time.
Yep, there's a lot to unpack, they say, right? What I would say is that I've always had my, how can I say it, strong doubts in the perfection of the judicial system, especially when they start talking about the death penalty. You know, for me, it's like you put somebody on death row, you got to make sure that first and foremost, there's no prejudice going on. And when I say prejudice, at all levels, all types of prejudice. Make sure that's not a factor in the situation. And that alone is a challenge, because somebody could say they're not prejudiced about something all day, and then they are, you know? So that's the thing. It's just making sure that the case is airtight, making sure there's no shadow of a doubt, you know, like, but the time period when this brother got arrested for this situation, there weren't as many cameras up. Like, I was supposed to go to court. I went to court today because God bless the ones move on, and I'm going to shout my brother out, my brother Yao, my chosen brother Yao Pabi, a pillar of his community, was gunned down back in 2022. No fault of his, no beef of his, mistaken identity. At nighttime.
Yeah.
They pulled out and they just started airing out and shot my brother to death. So with that said, you know, and that's a harsh reality topic to bring up, but with that, you know, I was in the midst of it today, so it just came to my mind. With that said, you know, there's more cameras now. Those two guys got caught. They're from all the way Virginia, all the way here in New York, committing a shooting in South Jamaica, Queens. So it's like there's more cameras now. With this individual that we're talking about now, though, that you brought to my attention tonight, the time period he got arrested in, there wasn't that many cameras. The whole camera system wasn't even up like that.
Yeah.
So they have to have stronger investigative skills and techniques involved here. This is a person's life, and that's the problem with this system. And like the brother was just pointing out, this whole thing with Trump and him being so pro the death penalty, you know, because he's Mr. Moneybags, you know, he's sitting on money that's taller than me, right? So you don't think he'll ever have that problem, you know what I'm saying? Of being mistaken and being put on death row and shit, you know. But, and pardon the French, sorry about the little cuss word. Pardon me, people.
No. Go ahead, man. If it apply, let it fly. We good.
You know, so my thing is like, man, look, it got to be squeaky airtight, man. It won't be the first time that somebody's been wrongfully put on death row. Like they was just saying, like, I think since 1973, 200 people was on death row, and 200 people they're talking about through the decades got exonerated. 200.
So, Brother Mega, let me ask you a question, bro. Is there something wrong with do you think should we be more sophisticated as a society? And if Black people have the kind of undue honor of being America's moral barometer in many different ways, should we be fighting to eliminate stuff like this, especially if we see it go willy-nilly and off the rails like this, and so many people go, you know, they go falsely accused?
We're asking for a whole lot, my man.
That's why we're here, man. We're here to have this higher discussion, brother, because we don't get these opportunities in other forums. You know, they're trying to eliminate your free speech. You know what I mean?
You know, they doing their thing. That's what they do. But there's law and then there's justice, right? So law is the letter, according to the codes, the statutes, the issues at hand, the precedents, the old evidence and the new evidence, and you know, there's checks and balances between what we consider into law and who administers it and where the gavel finally bangs. And this is for the voice of the people to start with that. You know what I'm saying? Now that we have this information, I'm sure tens of thousands have this information. Then it can turn into something. And those 10,000s of voices can become one voice to check the law. Now, for justice, that's an internal thing. That's going to be with that DA that wants to try to put this appeal out there. Something in them got to change. Hopefully, you know, those are the unseen powers, the unseen forces that we gotta, you know, hope that happens as well. More evidence needs to come into effect. If it's a case that's still open, you know, wiser detectives or even a whole new legal team to come into effect for the resentencing, so you can say, okay, now, boom, we can revisit the case under these new parameters and see what new parameters and see what can come into effect. But to seek a whole, you know, overhaul, you know, it's highly unlikely. And what we need to do as the people is be more proactive instead of reactive. You know what I'm saying? So these situations, even when they come up to the actual instant, people come out as witnesses. If they've seen something, say something. That's just the bottom line. Look, the brother wasn't there. He was there, not figure that out. Need more black attorneys that's in effect of, you know, getting into the social issues as well, so they can be, you know, you can get your money. You're going to get your money, but you know, these are the cases that really make a name. You know what I'm saying? These are the cases that really make a difference for generations down the line. So if we're not thinking like that, you know, you're thinking for your personal pocket, it's going to be like that all the time.
Yeah, man. A lot of YT communities want they pound of flesh for whatever they consider is a crime or an injustice in a particular area, especially if it happens to, you know, women in their community. They go all out. You know, Scottsboro Boys, Central Park 5, like Adaris Fett mentioned, and a lot of it becomes a sensationalism that just goes off the rails. Anybody want to make one more comment before we get ready to get out of here, because it's almost 10 o'clock and I don't want to keep you good people from your families too much. Anybody got one more joint on this before we get out of here, or anything? If you have like a project or an initiative or community outreach, something that you want to promote, now's the time. Last word. Y'all can go round robin and get it in.
I'll say something real quick to the community. You got to get an education, man. Like the brother Omega said, man, you know, it's important. We need people in all fields of life, law, right? We need educators who can educate our kids on the history of all of this stuff, man, so they can understand, have a better understanding how not to get caught up in these situations, you know. So listen, get out there, learn, study, be the best you can be, educate yourself. It's important.
That's exactly right.
Agreed. I'd like to give a shout out to the Pobby family, right? And you know, God, you know, hopefully the Most High or everything that you believe in cradles this family through their time of need and through their time of missing their loved one, Yao Pobby. And also too, to all the parents out there, especially, you know, look, I'm a universal guy. I got peoples of all different ethnicities or whatever, but I'm addressing the original people right now. And don't be afraid to discipline your children, because undisciplined children become reckless, terrible adults. Adults that's so scared of their own shadow that they can't settle a dispute without using their index finger. You know what I'm saying? So please discipline your children, the boys and the girls. Discipline them. Don't allow this country, like Tragedy once had a record. My man, the intelligent hoodlum, once had a record called America Eats the Young with Chuck D on the record with him. And you know,
I remember that.
Powerful record.
Powerful,
And
absolutely.
Powerful record, right? And the thing is that, you know what? The only way America can eat your young is if you don't discipline your young and educate your young, reinforce your young. You know, instead of A for apple, B for bat, A for artery, B for bladder. You know what I mean? We got to step it up. You know, I know a lot of people who have stepped it up. Present company included on the screen right here. I know these people. And what I'm saying is that, generally speaking, this is what we got to do. We have to, how could I say, justly, righteously discipline our children. I don't mean abuse them. I mean discipline them, though. We can't go along with this get along gang crap out here where, you know, oh no, don't talk in a high tone to the child and don't talk to them that way, and they have special needs. So now that they're special needs, you don't correct them when they're wrong. No, we can't be doing that, man. It's just gonna make the children worse, and next thing you know, we got horrible adults out here. You know, but anyway, I yield the floor.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
No, I just wanted to say that as long as there is just us being treated the way we're treated in the justice system, you know, we can't support the death penalty because it's not just. So you can't support something that is as finite. And if people don't know, people that are on death row, they're not just there 3 years after sentencing. They're there from 11 to 18 years on death row, waiting for that, you know, time to that they don't have a cease or something. And that's because America knows that the justice that was the litigation that was used to come up with that justice is all fabricated. So there are still so many more brothers and sisters that we have to free from, you know, this imprisonment, and before that we can even establish a finite justice as the death penalty is. It's just not. We just can't be possible.
Hey, I appreciate everyone who has joined the show tonight. Please like, share, and subscribe. Make sure that you comment on all parts of the show that you enjoyed or that you want to build on or want to further explore. And get back with us, and I'll read your comment on the very next show. We are the Real HD Show. And for Darius Fett, Aurora, Brother Mecca, Brother Godspeed, we are the Real HD Show. And I'm going to say peace and walk with power. And we'll be back on Monday with another riveting show and an opportunity for us to get better. Y'all be great and be powerful people. We will see y'all on Monday. Peace.
Peace.